Good evening. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. Let me introduce Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Good evening. Welcome back.
And
I noticed you took it seriously. I might actually bite you if you got closer.
Yeah, well,
And
she got her
I
10 seconds tonight.
am RisenLadyHeathen. We're happy to provide you with three different perspectives. Mr. Rex is, of course, a boomer. Asshole is a millennial, and they both eat, sleep, and breathe politics. I'm a female millennial who's learning about politics, and we want to give you this info from each point of view at our literal round table. First, I want to say we suffered a tragic loss this weekend. Barnabus, our big orange fluff ball cat, passed away suddenly late Saturday
You'll see
night.
him on the ladder shouting.
So I thought it would be fun if we each shared a Barnabus story. Or is
Okay.
that too much too soon?
How
Oh,
about me?
go ahead.
I'm waiting for it to come up. So I had to do something up on the roof, and Barnabas was out in the yard because Barnabas was often out in the yard. And feeling it was necessary to supervise me, he went up the ladder. And
That's a great photograph of him
Yeah.
climbing the ladder.
well, then he discovered he could be up on top of things, and that was the best place to be. So
Yeah,
that
there,
was-
There
he
he
is,
is.
climbing the ladder.
yeah,
And this
he
is
went
for
up
our
and down the ladder
YouTubers.
all day.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
So for those of you who are on YouTube, you will get a adorable picture of Barnabas on a ladder of his own free will.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
No, my favorite memory of Barnabas was watching him hunt through the tall grass, and he looked exactly like a tiny lion. I mean, exactly. It was if you could do something to change the scale, you'd have gone,
right.
what the
Right.
hell? You know. And he didn't have a big, you know,
They lied. Not all the megafauna went away.
yeah, he didn't have a big ruff, right? So it clearly is a little girl lion, but damn, he looked like a lion.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna say that because I was hoping this would come up, but I'm gonna say that my favorite thing about Barnabas was that he would mug people for treats.
That's
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh, he was such a dick when it came to but you gave him treats and he was good to go. But he would not let you bass him until he got his
Oh, yeah?
treats.
no,
Yep.
he wasn't stupid. He might give it to another cat.
One the time he caught a baby crow, and for the rest of the day there were crows in the yard.
Oh Jesus, that was funny.
More crows coming.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
like they called their buddies,
Yeah.
and they were angry with him because he had hurt a little crow.
He'd
And
fuck
hadn't
with the baby
even
crow.
hurt it. We gave it back.
That's the problem.
That's true. He
Yeah.
didn't kill it. But boy, were they mad with him. And of course, they're diving down, so they're
Yeah.
they're passing over him within like 3 inches of his head. Right? I mean, they were angry crows.
That might explain why there's no crows around here anymore.
Well, they come a specific time of year. They'll fill that whole tree.
Yeah.
There'll be 150 crows in that tree.
Well, all right. So I'm gonna ask for a quick moment of silence in honor of this little terrorist.
Okay.
And I want to thank you, our listeners, for your kindness in this difficult time for us. But we all know politics and news don't stop for anyone, so let's dig right into our headlines.
All
Tell
right.
me about this giant bug.
Oh my God. So anyway, you remember, I don't know, about a month ago,
Yeah.
they were talking about how they found an actual millipede, a
Yeah.
millipede with more than 1,000 legs. They counted them, and it's like 5 inches long. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell good is a millipede 5 inches long? Right? I mean, you tell me it's got 1,000 legs. I'm expecting a millipede 3 feet long, right? I mean, come on, guys. Never been so disappointed in a creature in my whole life when I found out it was 5 inches long. So they found a nearly complete fossil
Oh.
of a centipede.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
nearly complete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 320 million years old.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He's about 2.5 meters long, so call him 7 feet long, and about 2 feet wide.
Ew.
So you're talking about a centipede big enough. You could ride him like a bumper car, right?
Yeah.
You just need a little tiny saddle and some reins. Oh my God, it's largest invertebrate ever to have lived. So
That sounds terrifying. That is human eating size. That is not okay.
yeah, I wouldn't want one of those to jump on me when I was going somewhere.
No.
So I don't know if you could make pets of a millipede. You think they have a?
No.
No, they're fucking bugs, man.
So anyway,
They don't give a
just
fuck.
think of them as being an oddly shaped alligator and be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and that's kind of my problem is
No, and you
humans would absolutely fall for it, right? No, we're friends. They love me. And I'm like, no, they've
Oh.
never been hungry.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us about the Alabama Slam.
Oh
What is
God.
going
So
on with
anyway,
this?
no, we've got a couple of stories tonight. One of them is, the left-wing outrage press, right, is always full of stories about bad cops and so on. And it's not like there's any shortage, right?
Right.
So you labeled this one the Alabama Slam, and that's about right. So this place called Brookside, Alabama, right? Average household income is less than $40,000. Their revenue from traffic fines and seizures and so forth was more than half their $1.2 million budget,
Oh God.
right? So here's a little town that was just preying on anybody who came by. Citizen, non-citizen, didn't matter. Jack them up, grab their car. If they got more than $100 in cash, take it. Standard seizure stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, and that seizure law is fucking bullshit.
Well, and especially when you're burrowing down that deep because you're right at the intersection of the lawyer's gonna cost $1,200.
yeah. So anyhow, it all kind of came out, and now it's bad enough the police chief has resigned.
Good. About
Fucking-
damn time.
There are a couple of audits going on, a couple of criminal investigations. It'd be nice to have some folks from that town locked up.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, sounds like.
But anyway, before you think that town is unique, right? Remember Ferguson,
Yep.
right?
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Where what kicked it off was the police shooting of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager. But as it came out, Ferguson had just been preying on its citizens, right? That it's
Specifically, it's black citizens.
and non-white citizens were far more likely to be stopped. The courts were imposing very high fines and fees for nonviolent offenses and so forth, and then arresting people again when they couldn't pay them, right?
Of course.
So I think Ferguson
That's-
is now
that's how
under a
you do it.
consent decree.
Yep.
Again, here's a city that needs disassembling,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
Right, you've got this whole structure that
Only
was
if we're gonna
cooperating in
go
this,
in
and
and
all
do-
of it needs to be fired, every bit of it.
For sure. Hey, look,
So-
I'm all for it. In fact, look, this is, I don't know, what do we call it? What is the other half of Fugro's Boomerang? Like, this is where we can learn how to do actual nation building by,
Yeah.
building one here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Wouldn't
first,
that be nice?
in both of Ferguson and in Brookside, Alabama, first you need to do some city deconstruction.
Yep.
So, anyway, that's the bad side.
All right, so let's talk about the Tennessee suicide by cop.
Well, let's
That's what
talk
I'm
about
calling
good cops, right? So, Landon Eastep was sitting on one of those Jersey bounce rails, right? And a highway patrolman comes by, notices him there, pulls over with the intent of offering him a ride off the freeway, right?
Yeah.
This is not a great place to be standing. As the highway patrolman approaches him, he produces a box cutter in a threatening manner, so the highway patrolman backs off. About this time, an off-duty policeman from a nearby town pulls up behind the, he can sort of see what's going on. Pulls up behind the stady. Gets out and starts negotiating with Landon Eastep, who's 37.
Right.
And he spends bad enough to drink coffee on air. Or you can drown in it. He spends 30 minutes trying to de-escalate the situation, right? And he's saying things like, hey, you know, I'm here. I got no vest, right? I want to go home to my family. You want to go home to your family, right? Put the box cutter down. Nobody's going to jail.
Right.
You know, nothing bad has happened yet. And this goes on for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, a number of additional cops show up on the scene, and they're gathering off to the side, right? So you've got a little tableau with 3 guys negotiating, and there are 6 officers standing off to the side. But, you know, they're all aware that this guy has a box cutter and might present a threat. So they're standing there, you know, with their pistols at high ready, which is fine. And eventually, E-Step reaches in his pocket, pulls out something shiny, and comes to the standard Weaver position to fire. And the cops cut him down. Sad. Suicide by cop, I think, is exactly what happened. That'd be my guess. But the point is, they tried to de-escalate it for 30 minutes. They tried to handle it right.
Yep. And that was an awfully big blood clot of police, but
No,
They were off to the side, and yeah, it's probably more police than you needed on the scene.
No, my argument is if you're trying to de-escalate, you don't just have cop after cop after cop after cop after cop showing up. That doesn't de-escalate anything. And it's one dude. You really only needed maybe 2 extra cops aside from the guy who was talking to him, right? Yeah. So 2 on-duty police officers while this dude's talking to him, standing in the background. And you don't need 9 cops actively firing on a fucking freeway when you don't know where these bullets are going. I mean, I think that, yes, this was probably one of the better situations we've seen with cops trying to handle something. I think my problem with it is that it wasn't the on-duty cops that handled it appropriately. It was this one off-duty state trooper, right? He was a state trooper, right?
No, he was a local policeman.
Okay, so anyway, but he was the only person who handled it appropriately. Everybody else, you know, having the guns out, having him at high ready. You could have him at low ready and you can still shoot the motherfucker. Like, again, I feel like there should be much more de-escalation involved.
Much irrelevant. Again, yeah, I'll give you the highest rank and lowest ranked ones should have stayed. The rest should have gone off to fight crimes elsewhere. That's the biggest one I can tag them for.
Is that they had a clot of cops.
It's a whole bunch of people, and it's entirely too easy once somebody shoots for everybody to shoot.
And they certainly did. So.
No, kind of, sort of. You only need 1 dude to shoot a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm cool with them having 2 dudes.
No, I've seen that.
I've
seen the body cam from the police officer who shot a guy 6 times, and he still grabbed her.
Yep.
But again,
and
different
she didn't
situations.
miss.
And again, like, you don't want to be right up on somebody when you're shooting them.
No, agreed. And she wasn't when it started.
I'm cool with emptying the clip if the dude's coming at you with a knife. Like, fucking
Yes.
just empty the clip. But this is not that situation. This is a completely different situation.
No.
This is.
I applaud the
after you
officer's
threaten the
attempt
cops,
to de-escalate.
don't
I
put your
do.
hands
I'm
in your
not
pockets and do any
arguing
other
that.
shit.
Let's celebrate the positive.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I am sad for Mr. E-Step and his family.
No, and it
And I'm
sounds like
quite sure the
this was
cops didn't appreciate
this
having
sounds
to
like
shoot
a
him.
mental illness issue that should have been handled
Oh my
with
God, if
mental
only we had a
illness
social net.
specialists.
But apparently
again,
we don't.
No, and again, like, I don't understand why the cops can't have somebody at the station to be like, hey, we got an issue, we need you to come out here. Like, why can't they have that?
Need
Like,
a great shit ton number of those humans, but
Yeah.
right, naked and disturbed human is a fairly common call.
Yeah.
but anyway, so let's move on. QAnon trying to
God.
turns to Pelosi for newest conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, because she's doing a secret message. Nancy Pelosi's shared a video that says she's running for re-election. And as a background, she used the painted lady's, photograph or painting. So anyway, the QAnon folks have decided that this is full of secret references.
Of course.
And, with the recent death of comedian Bob Saget, and,
Bob
because
Saget.
using that painted ladies as a background, that's, that makes me think it's comms, because not very many people know about that. And I've seen the picture 1,000 times, right? So I look at the picture and go, yeah, I know, it's somewhere in San Francisco, right? Anyway, it's just, oh my God. So they're focusing on a portion of the video where Pelosi says that the most important issue facing Congress is our children.
That's
And
quite obviously proof of something.
Absolutely, because the whole QAnon thing is the
Yeah.
child sex traffickers who are in charge of the U.S. government. And don't forget the basement over at the pizza place.
Yeah.
And
No.
oh, God. Anyway, but it's an example of how you can take anything, right? And if you have this distorted, just psychotic worldview, that you can bend any message to fit into your psychoses.
Yeah, well, and we've been teaching people to follow their instincts and
To an extent.
the things that spark joy and well, no, but we've been teaching them right entirely because it makes them watch TV longer, better, faster, right? To make snap decisions because that's all brand right cares about.
Right.
So, oops.
I wonder if advertisement actually primes people to do that
It
kind of
probably
nonsense.
does.
I'll bet it does. Anyway, it's interesting.
Because then at least you know what kind of commercial it is and your brain can sort it. And I think that's the thing your brain probably really enjoys the feeling of.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there are commercials on the TV
Mhm.
that are kind of in the background and so forth. I never see them.
Yeah.
My brain just goes somewhere else, and there's noise over there, and at some point the noise will stop, and we can go back and watch some guys playing
you're
with their
watching
steel to
TV,
make knives. But
You're not even fully conscious. It's bizarre.
Fair.
so I was arguing, I felt like I probably wasn't being much influenced because I simply don't. But that may not be true.
That's absolutely not true.
So anyway, next up, God, I love this. It happens all the time. So anyway, in Orlando, Florida, right, there's a small group of folks running around with their Nazi symbols, their little Nazi flags, and their little Nazi salutes, and shouting mean things at cars
Are we
going by.
skipping ahead here?
No. We just left QAnon. So anyway, these guys are out there, they're doing their little Nazi thing, they're being really obnoxious. And so now local and statewide officials are issuing statements condemning their actions as hateful and disturbing.
Hold up. Now it's my turn to drink coffee and die.
Oh,
So we know that, the lunatic, killers get letters from crazy people that want to marry them and stuff.
mm-hmm.
So it's a known psychological, whatever the appropriate term is,
Yeah.
for being attracted to the worst of the worst. I wonder if this isn't sort of the male equivalent, or, right, one of the male expressions of getting hung up on a completely, right, do nothing, go nowhere ideology.
Okay.
Right, like how Tourette's is related to cultural norms. Right,
Okay.
Japanese people with Tourette's say horrible things about their ancestors
Oh, that's interesting.
because that's socially inappropriate in the same
Inappropriate.
way that swearing is.
I like that. It's
So-
an interesting idea.
Yeah, like I said, I had an odd thought wander by. I figured it
So when the antisocial switch goes on in America, you just automatically do Nazi.
kind of.
Yeah.
It is kind of exactly not the things, right? American upbringing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, you've got the Orange County Sheriff, John Mina, promising to thoroughly investigate any criminal activity by the demonstrators, saying, I'm aware of the anti-Semitic demonstration in Orange County, and I, along with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, deplore any type of hate speech. This hatred has no place in our society. Hey, asshole.
You ever notice?
This is too little, too late. You knew the damn demonstration was going on, and you should have sent cops out there to walk around and keep these assholes from disturbing the public.
No,
When did
but
this
That's what
happen
we
again?
pay your ass for, Orlando.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah. So I can tell by the fact that you're apologizing
did-
after the fact that you weren't all that upset by what these people were doing.
How is this?
Screw you, you coward.
How is this never like the beginning of what the cops say after the time they went and beat the shit out of all those Nazis so bad everyone's like, oh my god. That's what happens when a police department just loses its fucking temper. Like, and just, it was bad. Like, we all feel like, I mean, like it's fine. We're not going to fire anyone or do any real big investigating because we all still need cops. But, oh yeah, that's what happens when the cops decide we're done with a mob's shit.
Yeah.
But, oh, that's not what happened. Oh.
He can
Just-
be all offended on Monday, but on Saturday, he's a supporter.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, anyway,
Yeah, if you're not doing anything to stop it, you're
screw him,
supporting
he's a
it.
coward.
Uh-huh.
There's a perfectly good word for what he is. Speaking of cowards.
Ooh. Hold on, are we moving on?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about Governor John Bell Edwards dancing over the fire here, just so I can keep track of where we're going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway. Democratic governor John Bell Edwards knew about the violent fatal arrest of a black man by Louisiana State Police. This is the one where they said, oh, he died in the auto accident. No, he died quite a while after that. And he died after he'd been maced and gassed and dragged and so forth by asshole cops. So anyhow, so he tried very hard to avoid it. Took him for goddamned ever to say anything about it. And he's still busy backing off saying, well, he could have died from the injuries from the auto accident and so forth. Just standard yellow-spined cowardice.
Did what Rahm Emanuel did. But
Screw him. Right? This is
Yeah.
a man with no spine. This is what you call a stuffed shirt. So, you know what's happening now? This is great. Louisiana House Speaker, oh God, Clay Schexnayder, he's a Republican, said in a written statement that he had talked to Senate President Paige Cortez and Attorney General Jeff Landry over the weekend about the report on Edwards, although he didn't say what the three Republicans might do in response. Instead, he alluded to possible legislative investigation for impeachment, saying the legislature was fully prepared to use its authority to serve as a check and balance to other branches. And what happened to Ronald Reagan is inexcusable and should never happen to anyone. And his family and the citizens of the state deserve to know the truth. It's time to find out who knew what and when and hold them accountable.
Oh,
Isn't that fabulous?
Yep.
This
is what
So
happens.
here's this Democrat who just limp dick.
Sit on your hands, hope
Yeah.
no one will call on you.
Hoping nobody will call on you, not saying anything, hoping
no,
it'll pass
that's
under
exactly
the
what
water.
we don't need
And
the
you
Democratic
gave the
Party to
Republicans
do.
the high ground,
Yeah,
and they're going to
no.
crucify your coward ass.
And they have every fucking right to, and that makes me
Absolutely,
fucking
and I'm going to
mad.
laugh when they do it.
Oh, Jesus fuck. Why are you so dumb? This is why we lose so always and so often. People, stop being stupid.
Then
Come
maybe,
out strong
then
against
maybe
this
we shouldn't
shit.
nominate and elect cowards to public office.
Agreed.
Men of no moral standing,
Okay,
men without a soul.
so, you know,
Empty
Democratic
shirts.
Party, as I have been saying very vehemently, needs to step up its game. Fucking bullshit.
Jesus.
It's
It's like
disgusting.
watching the Republicans talk. It's like watching the Republicans talk about Donald Trump, right? There's nobody in the entire group who's not a goddamn coward. Just scum of the earth, every goddamn one of them. So anyway, it's going to be fun watching a Democrat who tried to, shimmy by the problem, get hung out to dry. I'm going to enjoy watching it.
Yep. No, and this is
What
the
happens
fucking
when you're
problem.
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking God damn it, Democrats, what the fuck? You need to have spines and use them, Shit. This
Not
is
a man
just
of good character in the crowd.
frustrating. All right, I can't
So-
even with this. We have to move on.
I
Okay.
just Anyway, I think
need
it's
good
great.
news.
We gave the Republicans the high ground, and they're gonna crucify the asshole.
Oh, do it. Do it, Republicans.
Yeah.
The one time that I will say you have my full fucking heart.
Drag him
Love
in,
it.
interrogate him. It'd be great. Just
Fucking-
subpoena the son bitch.
Yeah, make him look like a total
Yeah.
idiot. Fucking do it. I'm done. I'm done with these assholes. Anyway. Tell me some good news. Boomer Rex is about damn time. Hear
So
this.
we've got former President Donald Trump's inauguration chairman, Tom Barack, and he's attempting to get charges dismissed for his illegal lobbying of the UAE, or his purported illegal
Now,
lobbying for
what
the
is
UAE.
the UAE for those
United
of
Arab
us?
Emirates.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So, after 2 years of silence, more than a dozen armed FBI agents burst into the Los Angeles office, cuffed him up, and perp walked him.
Good.
So, anyway, he's pointing out, well, he shouldn't be tried because Bill Barr never charged him. No, but all of the investigation that led to the indictment was done while Barr was head of the Department of Justice. So, screw that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was incarcerated in a California general population prison for 4 days until he was released under extremely harsh and virtually unprecedented bail conditions, to which my full response is, welcome to the real world, asshole. So this is what the rest of us live. So screw you. Anyway, bring him to trial, convict him, and see how long we can lock him up for.
Done.
So, but I just love it that he's, well, you know, he's special and he should be treated different because he's not a common criminal. Yeah, you are. That's what the indictment says, that you're a common criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, I love it.
Of the worst sort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I've got infinitely more sympathy for someone who did crime due to the fact that there wasn't a lot of
You were lobbying
good answers.
Yeah, you were lobbying for a foreign power
Yeah.
from near the heart of the U.S. government without telling anybody that you had a conflict of interest. Makes
Yeah.
you think about words like treason and
That's-
betrayal. And,
It's
So,
about
anyway.
the most common form of criminal there is.
yeah. Yep. So, anyway, haha.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed your stay.
Yeah. All right. So it's always Florida. We're back. Got a lot of Florida stories today.
Well, it's not always Florida. Sometimes you have to have honorary Florida people.
Uh-oh. Who are these?
Oh, God. So,
Is
anyway,
this
most
Texas
of this
edition?
This is the Texas
Yes.
edition, yeah. So anyway, Donald Trump goes to Texas, and the kooks they have a kook circus. So anyway, one of the women
The
says,
devil went down to Texas. He was looking for a soul to steal. I can't even say it right. That's funny.
well,
That makes it better.
if you're looking for a soul, Texas ain't the place you should go.
You win.
So anyway, Joe Biden,
BoomerRex 1 point.
according to one of the women there, Joe Biden is actually a fake, because the real Biden was assassinated at Gitmo in March of 2019. And so she's expecting that Michael Jackson, JFK Jr., and Princess Diana will all return to attend Trump's inauguration because he helped them escape.
Princess
what?
Diana escaped from what?
Yeah.
A death? I don't think.
Qanon is
Do you
the
know how many
same magic-
reporters were on that scene? That's why she died last time I checked. They got it all
Oh
on
my
video, don't they?
God.
QAnon's like listen to country music backwards.
And there was
Dog
another
pound.
one. He was so Republican, right? I mean, I had to quote this. Another man said that David at the Conroe Police Department had said that once the gates were open, people could rush to the stage to get the best spots. And he said, quote, blind, crippled, or crazy, they're getting smacked down if they get in my way. Standard Republican. Absolutely standard Republican. Everything every Republican
All right,
believes. Devil take the hindmost.
Let's be honest. Standard Trump Republican. For sure.
There's nothing else left. There are no Republicans.
I
Name one.
can't. That's illegal.
Cool. When you find one, let me know.
I have. Again, I'm not gonna fucking get people out on here. But again.
So anyway, no, it was such a Republican statement, right?
Right.
The devil take the hindmost. Just shove them out of the way. They don't mean anything to me. It's all about me. I'm going to get up there by the stage. Because I'm an important person. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Scum of the earth. Oh, and we got to do the t-shirts.
Did he murder a dude? Then I kind of don't care. Like, fucking be dumb. Get, assault charges put on you.
I'm just pointing out to you that this is the Republican creed, and I'll read it again. Blind, crippled, or crazy. They're getting smacked down if they get in my way.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
All right.
Always after the week.
No, well,
Always out to step on somebody.
Yeah.
Always out to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, the Republicans are disgusting.
Trump Republicans, yes. I completely agree. So.
Handing your production of an actual Republican. So. And if it votes for Trump, it's a Trump Republican.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, and we got the t-shirts. Gotta love the t-shirts. So, one of the t-shirts says, makes 45 become 46 again. Say what?
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Sure it does to somebody.
No, it's like that one dude on Jordan Klepper does these videos where he follows the Trumpies and stuff. And this one dude had made this t-shirt and like he had the years all fucked up. It was like Donald Trump from this year to that year and stuff. And he's like, he only serves one term. And the dude was like, no, that's 2 terms. And he's like, it's 4 years. 4 years is 1 term. Like, it was really funny. Made me laugh.
God. Anyway, and the other wonderful t-shirt was Unvax Billion, which I just adore.
No, yeah.
So.
Fuck unvax. You know what? Anti-vaxxers, like, you're all gonna get sick. A lot of you are gonna die, and I'm kind of okay with that at this point. You've had your chance. Whatever. You do you.
How about Minnie Mouse in her new pantsuit? Boy, the Republicans are just going off the deep end. So, conservative U.S. commentator Candace Owens criticized the makeover as an attempt to make Minnie Mouse more masculine and accusing those behind it of trying to destroy the fabric of our society.
Because Minnie Mouse is wearing a power pantsuit.
Right, temporarily.
Yeah.
It's also not the first time she wore a pantsuit.
You know what?
Captain Minnie Mouse wore
this is done. If I ever do a public fucking appearance, it's gonna be me in a goddamn pantsuit. Like the best pantsuit I could find. On the cheap.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, no,
give me money so I can buy a nice pantsuit and do photo shoot for you guys. So don't forget to hit up our Patreon, follow, like, subscribe, do all the things. This is where I plug us.
This is why they're going culture wars. They have no policy initiatives to talk about. They want to cut taxes for the rich again.
Yeah,
it's the one thing they got out before someone's like, oh God, don't say that aloud again. And something about one of the potato head toys.
Yeah.
And then we were off to the races.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about this Omicron update.
All right. So the Omicron update is it just reiterating. Omicron is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Or to the unvaccinated.
Right. Among the unvaccinated. So 90% of those dying are unvaccinated. So if you're fully vaccinated, right, 2 sticks and a booster, you are 90% protected from hospitalization and subsequent anything. So
fair.
Go get vaccinated. We told you.
All right. Now Florida's having weather? What the hell?
Oh, no. We're talking about climate weirding as a whole thing. So ski racers, right? They're at the Alpine World Cup events in the Rocky Mountains. It's early December. These events are scheduled for a time when there's supposed to be feet of powdered snow on these venues. Mm-hmm. And there isn't. It's all man-made, every bit of it. Right. So first of all, it's more dangerous, and you can get hurt a lot worse.
Man-made snow is no bueno.
The real snow isn't there, right?
No,
and it's happening
fine.
year after year. Right, big shock. Climate warning, no snow.
No, and again, as a skier when I was younger, I did used to ski, so I can honestly say that the places that would get actual snow, those are the places you want to go. When they have to use fake snow, you're just skiing on ice for the most part. It just compacts and it just turns into ice.
slippery.
You don't get that nice thick powder.
Yeah.
No, you got to be careful. It's not fun.
But it's happening over and over and over, that these venues that have always been, lots and lots of natural snow for these events, it ain't there. And it ain't there for a reason, which is the climate's getting weird. And as long as we're at it, meanwhile in Florida, it's raining iguanas again.
That used to be a rare thing. I feel like it's happening a lot more often.
It does seem like it is, doesn't it?
Yeah. All
And I
right.
feel bad for the iguanas. On the other hand, I don't think these are pets.
No.
Right, so I
no.
see
Yeah,
people
they're
picking
wild,
these things
yeah,
up
they're
and carrying
wild,
them
yeah.
around. And I have seen what iguanas do when they're angry.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want that to happen to your hand.
No.
So, anyway.
On the other hand, there's no one I trust more to touch the weird lizards than the kids from Florida. So
Yeah, that's true.
No, and they do it with...
Well, we're trying to figure out, why don't they die? Why don't they land on their little noses and break their faces and not be able to eat and starve to death? But they're kind of stuck in a delta track, right?
well, and they wind down when they get slow. So I assume they were mostly on the branch.
Yeah, when they get cold enough, they will go into a hibernation, which is where you get them falling out of the trees and such.
Yeah, but why aren't they falling on their noses?
When they just fall out of the tree. It doesn't...
That's not.
I'm
what
just
they-
thinking the way they're shaped and their tails and stuff, that they're...
Well, they would fall sideways, so they would fall on their back, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine. But anyway, so they're just falling out of trees and stuff, and then when they warm up enough, they'll come back
crawl
and
away,
just
yeah.
wander away.
Yeah, there was a lady, she had like 6 or 7 in her backyard, all splat. And by about 2 p.m., they'd all waked up and crawled off. So, anyway.
Did you hear about the one dude? I heard about this years ago, but there was one dude who... this is it used to be a very rare event, so people didn't know what was going on. So this one dude was driving around and picking a bunch of them up and like throwing them in the back of his van or something. And then all of a sudden they warmed up and started moving around. So he had all these live iguanas just wandering around his truck, and he was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, don't pick up cold iguanas, people. Leave them alone. They'll
Don't
wake
let
up.
her oppress you.
They'll
She's
wake-
not your iguana supervisor.
They'll wake up and wander off on their own, but it's better to just leave them be. If they're in the road, move them out of the road, of course, that kind of thing, but don't fucking play with them. You'll be sad.
Like, comment, subscribe to watch these two assholes screw you out of stories about vehicles full of iguanas.
Oh, God. Now, there's an old story.
Each time I want to have a weeest amount of fun.
About a herpetologist who went out and collected 20 or 30 rattlesnakes, right? Right time of year, they have rattlesnake roundups. You bring them in, you milk them, you take them back where you got them, right? So anyway, he had been stuffing them in a laundry bag all morning.
Oh, yeah.
And so he had this big bag full of rattlesnakes, and they're all kind of cold and so forth. And they're anyway. So he puts it in the back of the truck. He's driving down the highway and gradually becomes aware that there's a very familiar pattern on his dashboard. And he looks at it, and it's a 6-foot Western Diamondback stretched out in the sun on his dashboard. And he looks down, and he's got a couple coiled up by his feet. And on the other side, he's got a couple coiled up on the floor. And he's got one coiled up on the seat next to him. So anyway, he stopped his truck and got out very quietly, and everything was fine. And then he just had to catch them all again.
I would turn the AC on cold, just crank that, slowly get out of the car, and wait for them to start,
I expect this was
calming
before
down.
there was AC in trucks.
Oh, okay. So
Anyway,
this is a
that's
real
a long
old story.
time ago.
No, there, because technically you can put snakes and stuff just in pillowcases, but you need to like fold them down. Like there's a certain way to close them. So it sounds like this guy wasn't paying attention when he closed his laundry bag or whatever. And
You have to tie the mouth shut.
Yeah, Well, not just tie it shut because they can squeeze through the hole. You got to fold it down and then tie it so they can't work their way around. It's
Well, and remember,
snakes will find holes and they'll get
a
in.
5.5 foot rattlesnake can get out of a 20-gallon aquarium really easily.
Oh, good, yeah.
He just braces on both sides and pushes
out,
and
yeah.
literally can push the glass out.
Yeah. So, anyway, are we ready to move on to our main discussion for the evening?
Sure.
Cool. So we were discussing the Kirkbride plan.
I feel like we had our dessert first.
Yeah, no, we did.
It's
really,
about to
really
get
did.
gross and
It's
horrible
about
up
to
in
get
here.
Really,
Oh,
really,
okay.
really bad.
That's
So,
sad.
again, in my
Meanwhile, in
research,
Florida, it's raining iguanas again.
we
Come
just-
on, I thought that was a good line.
It is, but like callbacks, timing. You gotta wait till.
Yeah.
More than a
We'll work
minute's
on
gone
that.
by.
We'll work on
No.
that. Yeah, we just talked about it 2 seconds
Apparently,
ago.
Risen's got
People
notes.
was still discussing. So anyway, as with before, doing my research, another name kept popping up. So I said, fuck it, let's find out what's going on with this bitch. In all the best ways. Like, I'm a girl, I could say. So I found out about this woman named Nellie Bly.
That's the one.
And that's not her real name, that is her pen name.
Okay.
Her real name is Elizabeth Cochran Seaman.
Okay.
That help? Obviously, now we know who she's talking about.
Right.
Well, technically
Everybody knows about her.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Jane Cochran Seaman.
Okay.
So Cochran's her maiden name. Seaman was when she was her married.
This
Okay.
Nellie Bly was the one I've been thinking of.
Yes. So Nellie Bly is actually one of the early people to invent sort of like hardcore investigative journalism.
Right.
So she was like one of the early people. Now there had been some journalism, right, but not investigative. So she inserted herself into the mental illness. So she put herself into an asylum for 10 days
Okay.
to find out what was going on behind
Okay.
the scenes. So let me just tell you a little bit about her because she actually
yeah.
lived a severely interesting life. So not only did she basically invent modern day, inside journalism, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, she did a bunch of other shit too. So let's get into this. So in 1887, I'm just going to read you like a short sort of thing about her life, and then I'll kind of fill in the
Yeah, okay.
blanks. Okay. In 1887, Elizabeth Cochran stormed into the office of the New York World, which at the time was the prime. So the World
One of the
was
big
was
papers.
the biggest paper kind of in the world,
Okay.
right? So it was huge. One of the leading newspapers in the country. She expressed interest in writing a story on the immigrant experience in the United States. Although the editor declined her story, he challenged Cochran to investigate one of New York's most notorious mental hospitals. Cochran not only accepted the challenge, she decided to feign mental illness to gain admission and expose how patients were treated.
Yeah, which hospital?
This one doesn't say off the top of my head.
This is the one I've been trying to think of the name when we talk about.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right. Hold on.
Like how Bedlam was the old British one, and that's
Yeah.
why we have.
Bedlam.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean
Tell
to.
your story. We'll find the name later.
No, I know that I read so many articles that I know the name, but like God forbid I have to remember it long
Not a
enough to
problem.
repeat it out
Tell your
loud.
story. We'll find the name.
Anyway.
So she gets into an asylum. What happens?
Sadly this particular whatever doesn't go into that, but anyway. That's right. Load like that, you weird fucking. Anyway, Elizabeth John Cochran was born on May 5th in. Oh, wait, where was I? She decided to feign mental illness to gain admission and expose how patients were treated. With this courageous and bold act, Cochrane cemented her legacy as one of the most foremost female journalists in history. Elizabeth Jane Cochrane was born May 5th, 1864. Her family owned a lucrative mill in Cochrane, Pennsylvania. Cochrane, Pennsylvania was actually named after her father, I believe.
Okay.
And what it was he owned a mill. And because the mill did so well for the town and everything, they renamed the town in his honor or something like that. Unable to, at the age of 6, Cochrane lost her father, so her father died. And unable to maintain the land or their house, the family moved. Her mother also remarried, but later divorced due to abuse. Now, Cochrane herself was 14 at the time the divorce happened, and she had to go to court and state the things that her stepfather had been doing to her mother and such. And in the process of this, saw how hard divorce is, because it took her mom 2 years to get this divorce, and there was all kinds of whatevers, and everybody loved her mom. So there was no end to people who would say, no, he's an asshole and she's awesome, fucking let her have this divorce. But because of how things were back then and how women were treated, it just was a big to do. So in seeing all this kind of gave Cochrane this, I need to do something about this, right?
Okay.
So anyway, while her mother remarried but later divorced to abuse, while attending Indiana Teachers College, she decided she wanted to become a teacher.
Okay.
She added the E because her name Cochrane didn't used to have an E on it. So she added the E at the end of her last name. Due to the family's financial crisis, she was unable to finish her education. So no longer in school, Cochrane focused on helping her mother run a boarding house. One day, an upset Cochrane decided to pen an open letter to the editor of Pittsburgh Dispatch. Now, the reason why she penned this letter is because this dude wrote this article about how females are, this and that and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, that's some bullshit, sir. So she's like, and she let him have it. And this dude was like, whoa, I don't really believe any of that. I was just writing a piece. That's amazing. I love what you wrote. Can we work with you? And blah, blah, blah. So the editor not only read her response, he printed her rebuttal and offered Cochrane a job as a columnist.
All right.
As a newspaper writer, she took the pen name Nellie Bly. Although Cochrane was a popular columnist, she was often asked to write pieces that that only addressed women. So this kind of annoyed her because she's like, I want to tell the men what they're doing wrong and how the world could be better if we stop being shitty to women.
Yeah.
So wanting to write pieces that address both men and women, Cochrane began looking for a paper that would allow her to write more serious work. In 1896, she moved to New York City. As a woman, Cochrane found it extremely hard for her to find work. After pretending to be mentally ill for 10 days, the New York World published Cochrane's articles about her time in the insane asylum on Blackwell's Island. There it is. And it was published in a 6-part series. 10 Days in a Madhouse quickly made Cochrane one of the most famous journalists in the United States. Furthermore, her hands-on approach to stories developed into a practice now called investigative journalism. Cochrane's successful career reached new heights when she decided to travel around the world after reading the popular book Around the World in 80 Days. Her trip took 72 days, which was a world record. Now, she decided to do this thing, and she convinced her paper, you gotta let me do this thing. Yeah. And so finally they're like, fine, you can do it. So she plans meticulously and everything, but another newspaper decides to send another woman out in the opposite direction the same time. Now, this other woman wasn't prepared, but, Cochrane had, months to make sure that she had the perfect outfit, the perfect whatever. Yeah. So now she's in a competition with this other woman, but she fucking wins hands down. And nobody ever talks about this other woman because she was part of a magazine that came out monthly, right? So her writing was different because her writing was more blasé, sort of. The sky was blue on the Pacific Ocean, or the color of the ocean, and like just kind of bland sort of writing. Whereas Elizabeth Cochrane's writing was more excitement about, oh, I did this and I saw this, and just more excitement about the trip and the journey and all the things she was seeing and people she was meeting. And so anyway, she became absolutely more famous after that, even though people already, she was a household name at this point.
Okay.
She would only hold the record for a few months, but nobody really cared because she fucking did it and nobody else had done it. So that was an amazing thing. In 1895, Cochrane married a millionaire, Robert Seaman, and retired from journalism. Cochrane's husband died in 1903, leaving her control of a massive manufacturing company. In business, her curiosity and independent spirit flourished. Cochrane went on to patent several inventions related to oil manufacturing, including, you know, those big oil drums that we use for like everything. That was her design.
Cool.
Yeah. In later years, Cochrane returned to journalism, covering the women's suffrage movement and World War One. So she covered because she was over in, I think, Austria when World War One hit. So yeah, while still working as a writer, Cochrane died from pneumonia on January 27th, 1922. But yeah, she did a bunch, but the reason why her name kept coming up is because she did this undercover piece at the what did we say, Blackwell.
Now Roosevelt Island.
Yes, that is exactly right. So it's pretty fucking crazy. She was a fascinating woman. You know, the fact that she, you know, did all these things, you know, as a single woman and then got married. So her marriage was like this whirlwind romance, right? They'd known each other for a month, got married, and everybody was like, she married him for the money because he's got a lot of money. And he was worried about that too. And then, you know, they went through some troubles and whatever. And eventually, like, she wrote like this scathing piece about like guys just thinking whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he read it and he was like, oh shit, I'm sorry, honey, you're right. I know it's not about the money, like blah, blah, blah. So they ended up being fine. And
all right.
Then he died, which was sad. But yeah, I think he died after.
Did he leave with the money?
Oh yeah.
Then she got what she wanted.
Not like all of it, because he had kids. Okay. But she did get enough money to be able to live, so she was able to do the things she wanted to do. But she made most of her money off of her writing. Okay. Personally.
Cool. Excellent.
Now she ran, you know, her, you know, first husband. She ran his business, and she like had like a workout room. She had like break rooms, and she gave like pensions and stuff to her people. Like she took really good care of these people. The business went under, but it wasn't because of her. It was because there was a bunch of so the people that were supposedly quote unquote helping her, like the guys, they were all embezzling money from the company. And when she found out that they were embezzling money, it was too late, because they'd been doing it, you know, with her when her husband was in charge. So she comes in, and as she's starting to dig through all this stuff, and as she's implementing these new things and stuff, she suddenly realizes the numbers aren't adding up or whatever. Right. And then she realizes what's happening, and it's too late. The company's already, she was already fighting, you know, to keep the company from going bankrupt. So it wasn't her fault or anything she did. It was legitimately that there was like 8 guys at the top that were supposed to be helping her that were embezzling money aggressively. So yeah, not okay.
Good capitalists.
Right.
I wouldn't say that if it was a guy. That's just me being shitty. I was waiting for a reply.
No, that's all right.
You're not supposed to be a discussion,
broke it.
dum-dum.
No, I think that kind of, I'm entitled to this and I'm going to take it, is
Yeah.
part of what's gone wrong with capitalism.
That's fair. No, that's very, very true. So I thought it would be fun, as kind of like because I was doing some research, and it is really hard to find cures, what they did for cures in the 1800s. I found some that are pretty gruesome, but I figured we'd start with the list of how you can get put into asylum. So
Okay.
some of you who are following us on BoomerRexTonight have a sneak peek. I found a really cool meme, and it basically says, why do all the reasons to go to an asylum in the 1800s sound like good metal band covers, right?
Oh, no.
So
what's on the list?
That's amusing. So let's get into this list here. So this is a legit list from, I will tell you exactly where it's from. So reasons for admission for the West Virginia Hospital for the Insane in 1864 to 1889.
Okay.
So these are legit reasons that were on.
This is on the
This
checkbox?
is an official list that they
Okay.
had of reasons you
Cool.
could go to jail or go to an insane asylum. Amenorrhea. Whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah. You got another.
Yeah. Asthma.
Of
That's
course.
Ah,
Yeah.
fuck off. We're not going to invent inhalers for another 100 years.
You're bad company. Being bad company is reason to be put in an insane asylum in
shut
the
up.
1800s.
Okay.
Look, we shouldn't bring this system back, obviously, but just think of how much better our society would be if being bad company was a reason to get put in a long sleeve coat.
Bad habits and political excitement.
Okay, this is obviously shithouse garbage.
We're going to the insane asylum, motherfuckers. The straight
Never
jackets are
mind.
coming.
The society has nothing to offer anyone. Burn it down.
Bad whiskey. So you can drink bad whiskey, and that's a reason for you to be insane.
Okay.
Bite of a rattlesnake. They'll put you in an asylum because that's the cure for being bitten by a rattlesnake, apparently.
They're afraid you're going to
Naturally.
turn into a rattlesnake.
I don't know. Bloody flux. So literally women on their periods could be put into an insane asylum simply because they were having their fucking period. A natural thing that had been happening for millennia. But now it's weird and crazy.
Now we have a special
She
building
might
for
be-
that.
She might not be okay. Brain fever.
I mean, come on now.
You should
This
be in a
sounds
hospital.
like kids
So,
signing their own.
do you want to
permission
know how they
slips.
treated brain fever?
Mm.
They would cut a piece out of your skull and just
You're just air cool.
just cut it out.
Just
and
to
you're
air you
good.
out.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Business nerves.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck that means. I mean, like, does that mean like if you go to a business meeting
just-
and you get nervous?
I just picture your central nervous system jumping up one day and putting on a hat and leaving with a briefcase to do business.
Oh, you're gonna love this next one. Carbonic acid gas.
Oh no.
The fucking. How is that a symptom?
Oh, God.
How do you die?
Carbuncle.
Well, Garfield's gonna starve.
Cerebral softening. So this was probably with children, you
Yeah.
know, that sort of thing. Constitutional. Is that like-
Amenorrhea
Mm-hmm.
is missing periods without being pregnant.
No.
Okay.
An obvious reason to go to an insane asylum.
Yeah, because if you're not pregnant and you're not having your period, it has nothing
You
to
might
do with
be crazy.
stress or getting older, and your period might be stopping naturally, like
Well,
it does.
I think you just assume she's either a whore or cheating. So you gotta put her in a cage so you can tell which. It's 18 garbage when.
Yeah.
It just says crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Death of sons in the war.
Yeah.
Decoyed into the army.
This is just, yeah, fucking.
Deranged masturbation.
Okay.
Desertion by husband means you're crazy.
Yes.
And
Diphtheria,
annoying about it.
which should be treated in a hospital.
Yeah, well.
Into
But it's so much better
into
in a
the
men's
asylum
institute.
with you.
Go cough on that lady whose husband didn't like her.
Disappointed affection.
Wow.
So your husband or lover or whatever is disappointed in your affection. Off to
yeah.
jail with you, bitch.
Oh, I was thinking of it the other way, that you'd been stood up at the altar and obviously.
Any number. Oh, it continues. Disappointed love. So I guess the other one is like mild petting didn't go the way you wanted it to go, and this one is actually having sex doesn't go the way you want it to go. Disappointment. Just disappointment.
Okay.
So being disappointed in something is grounds to be put into an insane asylum.
Sounds good.
Dissipation of nerves.
I mean, I don't think that's going to help.
Probably not.
That's probably going to make some nerves accumulate. And then they're going to get into business.
You never know. Dissolute habits.
Oh, yeah.
That's
of
the bad
course.
kind.
Getting bit by a dog can
Fuck it.
land you in an insane asylum.
Well, because you were probably going to get rabies and.
Yeah.
Domestic affliction.
All right.
Domestic trouble.
Okay.
So literally a husband.
If your husband's not happy with you,
Literally
off you
a
go to the
husband.
asylum.
Can go through and be like, no, I don't like her love making. She's really weird. She doesn't
Doesn't
talk
keep
right
the
to
house straight,
people.
doesn't cook
And she
well.
She
folds
doesn't
the
do what I tell her to
goddamn sheets
do.
wrong.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
I'm at my wit's end. She's
she
a
needs
lunatic.
to be
She has to
straightened
go.
out.
Yeah.
Off she goes. Oh my god. Doobie about mother's ancestors. So like dubious, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Dropsy.
Okay.
Effusion of the brain. Egotism. I feel like I've
Egotism?
heard that. It's EGOTISM. Egotism.
Oh,
What'd you find?
Galby is a real word.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
so egotism, bad thing.
Epileptic fits. So if you were having seizures and stuff, they just put you in the insane asylum because obviously you're crazy. That's why you're getting these
right.
seizures. It has nothing to do with, anything else. Where was I? Excessive sexual abuse.
Okay.
So if other
Not
people
masturbating.
abuse you, you're the crazy
You're the
one.
problem. Okay.
Explosion of shell nearby.
Okay.
So if you're in the war and there was a bomb that went off, that can make you crazy.
Traumatic brain injury.
Yes. Excitement as officer. So if you get overly excited when you're serving in the war, like off to the asylum. Exposure and hereditary. Exposure and quackery.
I mean,
I-
I feel like there's been a lot of quackery in this list.
Exposure in army. Fall from a horse, because, people, when you fall from a horse and that's you get soft
Yeah.
spots in your
Yeah.
brain, that kind of thing. False confinement. So if you were imprisoned falsely, then you could go back to the insane asylum and once
Which
again be
surely
imprisoned
gonna- yeah.
falsely. God, it just says female disease.
I mean,
Right.
That's all. Just female disease. Having a fever. Into the insane asylum with you, sickie.
at least that. The others just, you got lady bits, you're screwed.
I think female
it gets
disease
better.
is probably some version of an STD. So
Yeah.
Fever and loss of lawsuit. So if you filed a lawsuit and had a fever and you lost the lawsuit, guess what?
West Virginia might
To
think
the
you're
asylum
crazy.
with you. Fever and nerved.
Okay.
I thought fever on its own was fine. I feel like these distinctions are a little excessive.
Well, you
I
need
feel
a
like there's
long
an
list.
interesting very West Virginian story behind each of these.
Yes.
Fighting fire.
Yep,
Put you
right.
into an asylum.
Okay.
Fits and desertion of husband. Couldn't be
Yep.
the husband's fault. You
Nah,
bitch. Into the asylum with you. Gastritis. So you get a little
That's
gassy.
good.
Into
Love
the
that.
asylum with you. Gathered in the head. Whatever the fuck that means. A lot of thoughts, I guess, going
Right?
on. Like,
You live a rich internal life, motherfucker, and we'll show you.
Yeah.
We don't take kindly to that around here.
greediness.
How? Why can't we still do that one?
I'm down with that one. Grief.
Eh,
Gunshot wounds can land you in the asylum because that's helpful.
Obviously.
Hard study. So if you study too much, you're
Off you
obviously
go.
crazy.
Yeah.
Good luck, kids. Trying to figure out what sort of weird mixed messages we're sending you now.
Yeah.
Hereditary predisposition.
If your mother's a bitch,
right?
off you go.
Ill treatment by husband. Your husband treats you bad. You go to the insane asylum, not him.
Maybe if you weren't
You're
such a-
fucking crazy.
Such a crazy broad, he wouldn't have to tell
Well,
you.
they're going to be really nice to you.
Imaginary female trouble.
Okay.
You know what?
So she's having
You know what
female
females are like?
troubles, and the doctor says, it's all in your head, lady.
Never heard of this.
You're fine.
Yeah, and she won't shut up about it.
Living an immoral life can land you.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's forever.
Being imprisoned can land you in the asylum.
Okay.
Indigestion can apparently also. You know, my stomach's feeling a bit funny. All right, honey, off to the insane asylum with you. There you go.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. Intemperance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unladylike behavior. What is your problem? Why the hell would you want to walk in the streets?
Interference. God forbid you interfere with
I love
anything.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Totally a good reason to be put into an asylum. Jealousy and religion.
Oh, good.
So
I
being
think you
jealous
pretty much
and
put any-
having religion.
I think you can pretty much put any of these and religion, and
Yeah.
I am wildly more down with why ever they got locked up.
Yeah.
Kick of a horse, which I feel like is similar
And
to
religion.
being falling off a horse or whatever.
Yeah.
Kicked in the head by horse. So they
So this is
specify
different.
you can get kicked by a horse like in the stomach and into the insane asylum with you.
It kicks you in the stomach that causes the indigestion. Bam, you're crazy.
Break an arm or a leg or something and into the insane asylum with you.
You know what happens.
What were you doing to that horse? It couldn't be that they're very temperamental and don't like being treated the way they're
That's how
probably
the
being treated
horse
in the
got in the
1800s.
asylum in the first place. It's intemperance.
Laziness.
Huh.
Laziness.
Always a good reason.
Liver and social disease. The fuck
Okay.
is a social disease? Is that because it's liver and social? So is that like a drinking thing? Like you drink too much or too little?
Now you got
And you,
chlamydia.
you have
Yeah.
a social disease.
Loss of arm.
Okay.
I lost my arm into the asylum with you.
I love it.
Oh Jesus. Marriage of son.
Okay.
My son got married today. All right.
I'm off to the
Sorry,
asylum.
Jane, into the asylum with you.
Dude is marrying up son, and I was like, West Virginia. I
Maybe
don't
it
believe
is.
that's a thing you bitch about.
But it says marriage of son, not marriage to son.
Yeah, fair.
So I don't know. It could go either way. Masturbation and syphilis together.
Well, then you're a threat.
Straight masturbation for 30 years. You masturbate for 30 years into the asylum with you, crazy person. Like, who's
What
going to
the
admit
fuck,
to
man?
that? Like, who's going to be like, yeah, 30 years I've been jerking this one off. Like,
You come, you're gonna die.
How old are you?
this is good. This is good. It gets
30.
better.
9.
You got hair on your palms? Yeah.
Terry Pops.
Fuck.
Oh, Jesus. God, where were we? This is fucking brilliant. Medicine to prevent contraception.
I mean,
God forbid you use medicine to not get preggo, you crazy bitch. Into the asylum with you. Menstrual derangement. Feel like we discussed a similar.
Yeah.
Mental excitement. Milk fever. I guess that happens when you drink too much milk or rotten milk or...
It has a specific meaning in veterinary.
Moral sanity. This was one for the ladies. If you were caught novel reading, you crazy, into the asylum with you.
Why would you teach a woman to read?
Oh, but see, some women taught themselves how to read and then would read novels. Yeah.
Okay.
Opium habit.
Yeah.
Nymphomania. If you love the sex, you're into
Just
this.
doomed.
Overaction on the mind.
Okay.
So, like, if you're really, like, imaginative,
ADHD.
I guess. If you overheat.
All right.
Into the
Good
asylum.
one.
I can understand that one, and they're right to throw those people into prisons. They're bad people.
Fuck you. You get hot too, bitch. Study of religion can land you into the asylum. Overtaxing mental powers. Whatever the fuck that means. If your parents were cousins, into the asylum. What the
Where was this? Wasn't this in West Virginia?
This is what I'm saying.
pecuniary losses?
I have
Or
seen
worms?
Monetary losses.
The way it... So, see? Worms. It's got a colon. Ow! And I got a cat on me.
Weird.
And it says worms. Like, I have no idea. Okay, cat gone. Anyway, I have no idea what that means. Periodical fits. So having fit.
Okay.
But I have seen people in West Virginia do several of these things on this list
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
true.
time.
Oh, sure. Political excitement, which I feel like they've said several
they said
different
that
ways.
before, yeah.
Politics in general.
That's all the shout like
Well,
rights and shit.
I think a woman with political ideas needs to be locked up
No,
right
but
the hell
this
now.
isn't for women specifically. This is just
I'll bet
a
you that one
general
was for
list.
women specifically.
A lot of these are women specific.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
This is what happens when. This is like when you ask in Sunday school questions they don't want to answer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's
Politics.
right under politics.
Here for
Yeah, I've never heard
Weird
of
know
words
it's a
West
word I'm-
Virginia made up.
No, it's a word I'm supposed to know and I don't.
puperal, whatever the fuck that is.
Isn't that
Relig-
when you change from a pupa?
religious enthusiasm, religious excitement. So being too into religion is just as damning.
Well, you can
West
understand
Virginia,
why if-
yeah.
You had a perfectly normal wife and she became, weird.
Religiously excited. And not the hot kind, the crazy gonna give away all your stuff kind.
Having remorse can land you in the asylum. Rumor of husband's murder or desertion. So if there's a rumor that your husband was murdered or
I'm guessing that you
deserted,
murdered your husband. but
you're
yeah.
you're off to the asylum with you.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but puerperal is a postpartum infection.
No.
Oh, you
So if
see,
you fuck up having babies, it is all about women
Yep.
stuff.
woman specific.
I think they probably all
The
are.
man trying to keep you down.
The Salvation Army is apparently a reason to.
Again, some of these there's a story.
Yeah. Sacralation.
Gotta be.
Scarlation? Scarlat Scarlatina?
Again, weird words only West Virginia.
Yeah, what's
uses.
next?
Seduction. Don't you be seducing nobody.
It doesn't sound like anyone in West Virginia could identify
It gets better. Seduction and disappointment.
Oh, yes. Of course. I think we've already had that one under
We let
disappointed affection or
Yeah,
something.
And we
Yeah,
let West Virginia have Yelp. Why?
Self-abuse.
I mean, obviously.
Severe labor. So, like, I guess you were, like, laboring
took too long,
severely
like, come on.
and
12th hour, they drag you off to the
into
asylum.
the asylum with you.
Yep.
Doctors in West Virginia's had tea times.
Sexual abuse and stimulants.
Cool.
Sexual derangement.
Of course.
If you shoot your daughter into the asylum with you.
This sounds oddly sane for the rest of this list.
Yeah.
Smallpox. You know,
Good.
that shouldn't be treated in a
Excellent.
hospital.
Well, we'll just lock them up next to the nympho. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, this is interesting. Snuff. And then snuff eating for 2 years.
Okay.
Why are some of these like specific timelines? Like
No
you
idea.
can masturbate, just not for 30
30
years.
Because somebody's idiot cousin filed the court case weird and wrong, and some judge was like, nope, that goes in the record forever, idiot.
Softening of the brain, which I feel like is the same as softening of the head or
Yeah.
whatever. Spinal irritation. So if you got back problems, into the asylum with you. Sunstroke.
Oh, good.
And then sunstroke is one word rather than 2 words, because apparently they're different.
West Virginia wasn't sure.
Superstition. So being superstitious lands you right into the.
Okay, no
right into
wonder
the
everyone's
asylum.
mom was always telling them all kinds of
Oh,
crazy
I have
shit.
some candidates based on that one.
What the fuck
We just
is
call QAnon
okay.
superstition.
What the fuck is suppressed masturbation? So,
That's if they think you want to, but you don't.
but wait, you're not supposed to masturbate.
No,
Right.
there's some
So
very
not
specific time
masturbating
frames.
seems like the
if they
better.
think you want to.
You must only masturbate between 2 and 30 years or something.
No.
I still don't know if it's
No,
like
no,
the
no.
whole time.
This is their
No, because
belief
you
that
can
you
also
want
go-
to, but you're
That's
not
what-
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just masturbation and then
true. Yeah.
masturbation for 30 years. So
Yeah.
there's like a couple.
This is that catch-all for you're not
This is
doing
what
it,
states'
but
rights
you
looks
want
like.
to. So, and they know it.
Suppression of menses. So your
Yeah.
period, your flow. If you get stressed out or something, or if you're
Yeah.
if you're overweight or
We already
underweight,
covered that.
Yeah, but this doctor didn't know the 10 penny
The
Latin
10-penny
phrase.
word, right?
Because he went to West Virginia med schools.
Yeah.
tobacco and masturbation, hysteria.
Oh, that's got to be good.
Right? This is what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
So
I'm
you're
pretty sure that is
smoking,
what
you're
Bill Clinton did.
masturbating, and that's considered hysteria.
I had assumed they were masturbating with the tobacco products.
That seems weird.
Yow, cat, go somewhere else. or
The
put your
war
claws away.
can land you in the asylum.
Yeah.
Time of life. So if you're older, maybe any age they deem you to be
Having
probably
the time of your life.
yeah, fucking off you go. Trouble, just the word trouble.
Yep, that's for teenage girls.
Uterine derangement. I actually had a friend of mine comment when I posted the, when I shared the meme that I posted on the BoomerRex, and she said, that's fucked up. And I was like, hardcore metal band name though. I'd make a metal
It
band.
is. I love it.
She said that was her favorite. She was like, that's my
Oh my
favorite.
God.
The
Seduction with
uterine
disappointment.
derangement. That's the best. Venereal excesses.
Yeah, no, you're right.
All right.
These are all really good band names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicious vices in early life.
This is
Metal.
Yeah.
So metal. Women. Just the word women.
Yeah.
So being a woman
Was enough to get you into
lands you in the
the
mental
lockup. That's
institution.
good.
Woman trouble.
Yes.
So don't be trouble. Young lady and fear. So if you're a younger lady and you're fearful, into the asylum with you.
Because that's going to cure your
Oh,
ass.
definitely. Now, some of the fun things they like to do with women. Do you want to hear?
Sure, why not?
They cut off their clitoris, because that's the bad place.
Don't do
They
that.
put leeches on their vaginas.
Love it.
They put
cut them in the first
corrosive things to like burn and
Yep.
they would put
That ought to cure masturbation right
ice
quick.
cold water in various orifices.
Heroic magic is, or heroic medicine is amongst the worst periods of medicine.
So when they took you into these insane asylums, they would forcibly strip you down and toss you in a bath full of ice water.
Right. Just want to get you adjusted.
And then instead of giving you a towel so you can dry off, they would give you your clothes or whatever and throw you into your cell so you could, freeze and be wet
for a while.
and locked in. And God forbid there was a fire because the door's locked, there's bars on the windows, and you ain't getting out if somebody doesn't let you out.
Right.
So not
That's
good.
still a problem with jails.
Oh, yeah. Aggressively. So, anyway, one of the, so those are female specific. So we talked about bloodletting leeches. So one of the big things of treating people with mental illness was they felt like they just got too much blood. So they just take as much blood out of you as they could. Large quantities.
That's one of the things they could kind of reliably stop. So there was some of that.
They would chloroform people.
Yeah.
Like you do. They obviously used restraints and such, so they just tie you to a bed and leave you there.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd come in and flip you over so you didn't asphyxiate or something. I don't know. I don't even think they knew what that was though.
I mean, I'd rather all of that than them leaving you just strapped to the board with the door open.
Right. So we're talking about Nellie Bly, right?
Yeah.
So when Nellie Bly went into her
Yeah.
into the asylum, they did the whole, like, stripped her down forcibly, threw her in the ice bath, threw her in the room soaking wet, and, like, okay. Now, she had stayed awake for 2 days so that she'd have that crazy look.
Yeah.
And,
Fuck method acting.
she went into a boarding house where people didn't know her by a pseudonym name sort of thing, and just started acting crazy. She's like, "You're all crazy," and blah, blah, blah. So she was acting. She was like, "Oh, I gotta do this thing." And so by the second day that she hadn't slept, and she pretended to sleep on the stairs and then was in her room and was like, "No, somebody stole my luggage." She didn't bring any luggage. Just all these different things. And the doctor came and was like, "Into the asylum with you." So anyway, while she's there, she says that, the next morning they give her food, and this food consists of like a tiny piece of stale bread, like 5 prunes, and like off milk or something. Like, so just they give you these really bland diets. There was one asylum that would actually feed you only eggs. Like, that's all you could eat was just eggs.
Okay.
Because supposedly that was like healthy.
Healthy
but
food.
like not a lot of eggs. Like, you got like 1 or 2 eggs a meal or something. Like just such small quantities of food to be almost useless. So they'd have breakfast, and then the patients would clean the entire hospital, and then they had to sit on, in these chairs, just sit quietly, completely silent, and that's what they did all day.
Yep.
Because if you tried to talk or made any noise or tried to get up or do anything, you got the special treatment. Not good.
Yeah. It didn't sound good by the way you said it.
No, not good.
So I'm guessing you didn't get to go to your own room and pick, like, what to watch on TV or anything.
There was
And masturbate.
Yeah.
No TV, no masturbating, no
Tobacco
none of
products.
Yeah.
They would do purging, right? So they would force people to throw up.
Yeah.
And when you're only getting a small quantity of food, I can
You
imagine
prefer not to throw it
throwing that up is probably not good. We do know that lack of nutrition will slowly make people go crazy. And a lot of these people stayed for many, like they were like, the judges would send people to asylum, 16 years in the asylum, and like, hopefully you make it the 16 years, because most of these people, after being in for a year or two, they were pretty fucking nutty.
Yeah.
They are already fucking gone because of the treatment. Sometimes they would drown you and resuscitate you because that resets you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Waterboarding.
Yep.
Alcohol, they would treat with alcohol, which fucking all about it. They would treat with weed. Fucking
I don't
all
know.
about
Somehow they can fuck this up, so I'm not sure I want that at all.
So chloral hydrates, which was a sedative.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the street names, for those of you who are curious, Mickey Finn
Yep.
and knockout drops.
Yep.
Because literally they would put people in these comas and just leave them.
See what happens.
It makes them easy to manage.
Comas. Yeah, for, I don't know, how bad was the thing? You know, maybe a couple days, maybe a week, I don't know, whatever they felt like. So, yeah. No, it was aggressively bad. So, the thing with Kirkbride, right, because this was what kind of got us here, okay? We're talking about Kirkbride and his plan, right? So, the Kirkbride plan and his whole, like, thing. So, Kirkbride was like, this isn't good. We need to do other things. So, we laid out his plan and his ideas the other day. Based on his book, I think it was about 300 asylums, or he liked to call them hospitals, were built in his, under his, blueprints and such.
Yeah.
The problem is that it became almost trendy to send people to asylums, and we just read a list of reasons to go to an asylum.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just say they filled up fucking quick.
Yeah.
So his plan of 250 patients
Didn't last.
quickly turned into 300, 400, 500, 1,000 inmates. Like, it got crazy.
Yeah.
It got real crazy real quick, especially as the war started and such. And we saw that people coming back from the war could just be tossed in the asylum if people didn't want to deal with them, PTSD, just into the asylum you go. And being a woman with ideas, into the asylum you go.
Oh, yeah.
Without thought.
Well, in the 16th century, they drowned them, so maybe the asylum was better.
I think I'd rather be drowned than have my clitoris cut off, or, stringent, like stuff that's gonna burn me down there forever and disfigure me put on there, or especially the leeches thing. Fucking just kill me. Fuck that. I do not want leeches anywhere near my fucking genitals. You can all go to hell. That's not okay.
Was always guys babbling about dicks earlier.
Do you want me to put leeches on your dick?
Compared to everything else you listed, yes.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. That'd be the least of my
I'd
worries.
rather
Can we
leeches
stick
than
with
being
leeches?
bled by the mutants.
Yeah.
No, but that's how they bled you. Was leeches.
Oh my god!
They put bunches of them on you.
Absolutely, yes. Every time, please.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like leeches, but I like that better than the idea of them cutting open any part of me.
Oh yeah, they did that too. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They did all of it.
Yeah, no, and this is the worst period of medicine, because right after this, this is gonna finish devolving into the pseudoscience garbage, because we're about to start having real medicines, as we discussed. And
Oh yeah, no. So I'm thinking this covers our 1800s, because again, the only way I'm gonna get any real serious information about the detail, because a lot of these articles refused to go into details. I only found the one article that was talking about the clitoris stuff that I was telling you about, and the leeches and the vagina and that sort of thing. So
Well, you could read Nellie Bly it was a 10-issue thing, right?
yeah, and she turned it into a book. So there is a book, and I could potentially read that, but again, this weekend was my intent to do all this research,
Right.
and then the Barnabus, and so I just was not in a researching mood. But I feel like this covers the 1800s. We know it was bad.
Yeah.
We know it was aggressively bad. We know that Kirkbride's places were the better places to be in the early days when they were being
Used properly.
Used
supposedly.
properly.
in the period when it kind of made sense to be anti-vax, because it meant they just came by, slit you open, jammed some scabs in, and sewed it shut.
Yeah.
Like, you could genuinely die from a vaccine done correctly.
Yeah. And just not
I hate
good.
this
So
period.
There's lots of information on the early 1900s and into what we were talking about previously, which is deinstitutionalization.
Yeah.
So we're getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But again, I found another interesting person that we needed to discuss.
Okay.
And her life is just absolutely fascinating. So if you're curious, feel free to look it up. If you want to know more about her, I can certainly read her books and such and get back to you on that. So leave us a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that heart button, leave us a review. Do you like us? Do you hate us? If you hate us, I don't care, but please leave a note because it'll be so satisfying.
If there's something you want us to babble about, put it in the comments.
Seriously, do it all,
Yeah.
do it all. So, yeah. Anybody else got any comments on the insanity that we discussed this evening?
No?
No,
Yeah. Cool.
interesting.
Just, I looked at that list and I was like, that's fucking not okay, man.
They decided they didn't like you, off you went to the asylum.
Oh yeah,
Not a
they
problem.
didn't need a reason. Like this one woman was sent to the asylum when a doctor, because her husband's like, she crazy, and the doctor came in, checked her pulse, and was like, yep, she crazy, into
There
the
you go.
asylum
See?
with you. Not okay. So that's
Notice
it.
it was a woman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. It
Just
was
a way
woman.
of getting rid of inconvenient.
Oh god, yeah, no. Women having ideas and thoughts and reading novels. How dare you?
Yeah.
That was pretty much the
Still,
American
some of it's
way.
better than drowning. So,
No, I'd take drowning over most of it.
Yeah.
Don't take my books away. Don't make me sit silently in a room for. I'm not gonna happen. I'm gonna die anyway. It's fine. Just do it. Just be done with it.
Fair.
But anyway. So yep. So that's your bummer
Yeah.
for today, folks.
wow. You're right. We had dessert first. Crap. Meanwhile, in Florida, it's raining iguanas again.
There you go. There's your callback, and that was perfect
All right.
timing. Remember that next time. That was good. That was good. I liked it. All right, so we love y'all.
Have a good evening.
Night, we will have more information on, because there's a lot more information about the
Oh, yeah.
1900s
Yeah.
and such.
And remember, part of this is did we ever even have the beginnings of a social net that worked? Right. A mental health system that would reach
I
out,
think-
help folks, get them.
From everything I've seen so far, it seems like Kirkbride had the closest thing to a reasonable plan thus far.
It was we didn't get it implemented.
Right.
Right.
And then we found a whole bunch of convenient reasons to lock people up.
Yeah, well, that was always true.
Yeah.
We just
All right.
continued the trend.
We love y'all. We'll see you back here tomorrow night on BoomerRexTonight.
By the
Good
internet.
night.